protest to world leaders. You ignore our hunger, but spend billions of dollars on wars. In Nigeria's national statement delivered at the 79th session of the United Nations General Assembly (UNGA) late Tuesday, President Bola Tinubu of Nigeria protested to world leaders by decrying global priorities that perpetuate poverty and hunger and neglect urgent humanitarian need. Tinubu frowned on the misalignment between resources allocated to prosecuting wars by world leaders and those dedicated to alleviate human sufferings in developing countries. He called for a recommitment to, to multilateralism among UN member states and warned against the rise of singularity and nationalism, stressing the dangers of digressing from materialism. Tinubu said, today, these pillars of our organization are threatened. They risk being, they risk being broken by the relentlessness pursuit of individual national priorities rather than the collective need of the nations that are assembled here today. While commitment to multilateralism offer us the surest guarantee of global action to address the existential challenges we face. Singularity and nationalism are undermining the aspiration toward the peaceful and collective resolution of such challenges. From last year's summit and indeed from previous year, we have carried over the numerous challenges of terrorism, armed conflict, inequality, poverty, racial discrimination, human rights abuses, food crisis, danger, irregular migrations, piracy, global pandemics, hyperinflation, nuclear proliferation, grinding debt burden, climate change, and a host of other vexations. The continued manifestation of these challenges testify to our falling rather than to any lofty achievement on our part. Billions of dollars are being committed to the prosecution of war and the fanning of the embers of conflict. Yet, we always recall from bringing out the resources we need to build peace and to deliver life's necessity to people. The question of governance is at the heart of our problem and also the solution to them. We recognize this in Nigeria when on 12th June this year we celebrated a quarter of a century of unbroken democratic rule. We are no less proud of this achievement than the fact that during the last 2 decades, a sustained process of democratization has swept over Africa. President Tinubu asked world leaders at the high-level meeting to consider a comprehensive debt relief for Nigeria and other developing countries to enable them make progress economically. We must ensure that any reform of the international financial system includes comprehensive debt relief resources to enable sustainable financing for development. Countries of the global south cannot make meaningful economic progress without special accessions and a review of their current debt burden, Tinubu said. I think we have to thank Tinubu for taking Nigeria problems to the summit. But I have it in mind to say here that this country of ours that are facing what has been listed in this news, such as terrorism, corruption, and a host of others. Who are the causes? Nigerians are the causes. For example, from the inception of civilian rules, Nigerians recognize that the most problem we have is bribery and corruption, but they refuse to tackle it. And they know what to do, but nobody ever, nobody ever put it into practice. They are always saying it. They know what to do to bury corruption and bribery, but nobody come up to do anything. The only person at first who made an who wanted to fight terrorism, manipulations, and what have you, was the former president, Muhammadu Buhari. He tried to fight corruption by probing the ex-governors, the ex-ministers, and what have you. But no, not knowing that he's doing this thing to fill his pocket. Today, the highest corrupted man that Nigeria ever known is Muhammadu Buhari. So, we want to say here that if your house is on fire and you don't quench it, another man will not come from elsewhere and quench it for you. That's an adage I want to tell Tinubu and the rest. Now, of all the evil that are committed by our leaders in this country, how many of them have been in prison? How many of them have been prosecuted? Because they know that if our leaders, for example, maybe the governor or the ministers, if they've been involved in one financial crime or the other, they will be arrested and prosecuted. Nobody will try that. Although EFCC, who are responsible for such a body, will at first make noise, but at the end, they will sweep the case under carpet. Therefore, I would like to advise Tinubu, taking Nigeria matter to the World Summit to help Nigeria to alleviate hunger and hardship. I think if they can give palliative measure, it would be very good. But first, we have to tackle our own house before we cry out, asking others to help us. Now, who in Nigeria is ready to do the right thing and bring development to this country? Because Nigeria, we saw 20 years ago, still remain the same, no development. All we are hearing every day is stealing of money. You see, Nigeria, whom God has given so much natural resources, has never discovered any natural resources and put into use for the past 20 years. All we are hearing is that one governor or the other have steal Nigeria's money. And so all Nigerians will be in that case for 1 month, 2 months, without talking of what they have developed. So that is how Nigeria continues to go down every day. Therefore, as you cry out for the international international leaders to help Nigeria, is very good. But let us do the right thing in this country, and our country will be a better place to live. Therefore, in this case, all Nigerians has to be on deck to develop our country. It's not one man all of us has to be involved and kick out these things that have entered into our bone marrow called corruption and bribery.